Hey everyone, welcome back to Just Like Magic with Julia. I am so sorry that I did not post a video last week. I was resting and rejuvenating and on a mini vacation. But today we are back and talking about how to get back into alignment with yourself when maybe you feel like you're out of touch with your purpose, your path, with who you really are. Things haven't been going your way. Maybe you're sad. Maybe you're down in the dumps and you just really want to find that inner light within you again. So I am here to tell you exactly how to start doing that, how to get back into alignment with yourself, and how to really find new hope. But first, I have to ask you just real quick to hit that subscribe button right here so that you can join the Just Like Magic community and become a gem, so that way you can be in the know, in the loop whenever there's a new video, and manifest your dream life, have all of the trust in a higher power, and just get whatever you desire, just like magic. Okay, so let's jump into it. The first thing that I'm going to tell you is probably the hardest, and it is to not compare your current self, your current state of being, to the version of yourself that you have in your head that was thriving before whatever happened and maybe caused you to feel the way that you do now occurred. You probably feel like you lost touch with your higher self or the person that you're growing into. Like something or someone appeared and things were going good, things were peaceful, and before you knew it, before your eyes, you weren't as at peace with yourself as you were before. But that in itself is comparison. And I think that is rooted in this sense of control, right? Like we always are looking for someone or something to blame. And when things don't go our way, we want to just find a rational reason to figure out why something happened. And so you're comparing yourself to your old self because you're trying to find something to blame the situation on. And truthfully, I really believe that things happen to teach us lessons, to evolve us, and to really aid in pushing us to become the best versions of ourselves. And sometimes that doesn't end up coming in a box filled with rainbows and unicorns. Sometimes it comes in painful experiences. But do not compare your past self to your present self, because right now you are in the middle of evolving. Just like, before a butterfly is a butterfly, it's a caterpillar and it goes in a cocoon. You don't know what they do in that cocoon, okay? For all you know, it's miserable. For all you know, it's painful. But in order to evolve into a butterfly, that caterpillar has to go through that. And right now, you are going through what you're going through to come out of this the best version of yourself. So that version of you, as a matter of fact, was the version of you who got you here. So there's no more comparing, okay? We can't compare. If you felt like you were aligned, right, at one point, and you were making choices and trusting in God and trusting in the universe, whatever you believe in, and trusting in yourself to lead you down a positive path, and you were trusting yourself and trusting a higher power, and you were making decisions that aligned with that energy, you did nothing wrong. Okay? You did not make a mistake. You're not to blame. You didn't mess it up. This is a part of your journey. Don't feel like you can't trust yourself because you fell out of alignment. Alignment led you here to make you more stronger, to make you more inquisitive, to know yourself better, to learn from whatever it is you went through. And maybe to even highlight some areas where you need to grow and improve on before going down into your further path where you're meant to be. I'm not trying to talk to you like you're perfect. I'm not trying to tell you that you've never done anything wrong and that you don't have things to work on. I'm not trying to sugarcoat everything and just say things to make you feel better. But I think that sometimes as humans, we try to control. Inevitably, not every experience is going to be a good one. Not every experience is going to be a positive one. Sometimes life is simply trial and error. We think we're aligned. We think, oh my goodness, this is the right thing for us. And the universe, God, whatever you believe in, knocks it right out of our lives, because I truly believe that God can see things that I have no idea on. I may be thinking, oh my God, this person is so good for me. They're so sweet. And maybe they have a crazy past, a crazy habit that's not going to mesh well with me, and I can't see that. So God sees it and removes it from my life. That is being aligned, you know? And imagine me blaming myself for a situation inevitably ending that wasn't meant to be. Even if that person doesn't have a habit, maybe their destiny is to do something else, to be with someone else, and me wanting them and being in their lives, or them being in my life, isn't going to mesh well with our purposes, our paths. But yet I blame myself and feel like I'm wrong. So imagine that being the case, and really I'm trying to blame something on myself or God, or saying that I can't trust myself or a higher power, and not feeling aligned, when in reality it never was supposed to be a long-term thing. Now, of course, there are areas where we can all improve on, even when we're at the peak of our lives, whenever that will be, wherever that will be, whatever that looks like. There's always going to be some things that as people we're all going to be able to better and work on. But we also have to give ourselves compassion. We have to give ourselves grace. With that, it's important to be honest with yourself. It's important to look at what's going on in your head, in your mind, the thoughts that you're having, the feelings that you're having, the situation that you've encountered, honestly and transparently, because I do think that we should be the ones honest with ourselves. We should all be our own best friends, and sometimes a best friend is someone who's honest with you. A best friend isn't just someone who tells you what you want to hear. But at the same token, as humans, we also have a tendency to be our own worst enemies. And we don't want to do that, because that's not going to be productive either. The more that you talk to yourself with self-blame, the more that you talk to yourself negatively, the more that you talk to yourself in a lens of trying to be perfect, the worse things will get. It's so easy to get lost in trying to be the best version of yourself for other people. And when you do that, there's something that doesn't necessarily feel authentic. Or when you try to be the best version of yourself to gain validation or to be perfect, but not because it truly aligned with where you are, it doesn't feel the same. You may think that all of your problems would disappear if you had a certain job or a certain house or a certain car or a certain body, but in reality, things will stay the same if nothing inside of you changes. And when you have this goal of getting back into alignment with yourself, a big part of that is authenticity. And being negative to yourself, being harsh, being critical, and not giving yourself compassion will push you further away from your most authentic self, your most aligned self, because it's going to further the narrative that there's something wrong with you, and that's just not the case. There's a difference between being honest with yourself and beating yourself up. The next step I really want to give you to getting back to your most aligned, authentic self is to recognize that you need help. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. It's going to take time, because chances are whatever occurred that really made you feel like you were being pulled away from your authentic self happens over time. It wasn't something that just happened obviously to you, because if it did, you probably wouldn't have let it fester for as long as it did. Sorry about that, you guys. My light just went out randomly. But there's usually a problem under whatever obvious problem that you're seeing. And there's a root to all of this, whether you know it or not, whether it's a certain thought that's been in your head since childhood that's now just playing out as an adult. The root problem isn't always obvious, which means that you need people in your corner to help you. And I don't just mean friends and family. I mean getting professional help, like from a therapist or from a mentor, because those people are trained professionals that can help you actually get to the root. Being able to connect with your most aligned self involves a lot of deep inner work and a lot of effort from your part. And I say this in a lot of my videos. Like, if you don't read, start reading. And don't just start reading, things to distract you. Read things that you're curious about, like questions that you have about, the world, about spirituality, about whether it's money. If you have a goal of like trying to become wealthy, read books on it. If you have a goal about philosophical questions about, spirituality in the world, read books on it. If you have a goal about being in a healthy relationship, read books on it. Like, read books on attachment, watch YouTube videos on the same topic, seek it out more in your day-to-day life, because we don't even realize sometimes as adults that we've been conditioned to think certain things about ourselves, to accept certain beliefs about ourselves that aren't even our own. And those beliefs really determine the way that we achieve certain goals, create our realities. And if you're trying to align with your highest self, if you're trying to reconnect with your higher self, if you have a goal for what that looks like, if you want to be happy, if you want to be thinner, if you want to be thicker, if you want to be in a relationship, if you want to be single, then you need to do some inner work. And a big part of inner work is the ability to deeply reflect. And in order to reflect, you need to be prompted. So that's why I was saying, recognize that you need help. Therapists will prompt you, therapists will inspire and engage you in that route. And if you're not in therapy, seek it out. Go on ChatGPT, put in ChatGPT journaling prompts for this breakup. This is what happened, and I need journaling prompts. Or Google it. When I say that there's usually a problem underneath another problem, I mean, like, for example, let's just say you and your boyfriend of 2 years just broke up. Yes, that is a problem, right? Like, you are mourning a significant relationship. You're not only mourning the person in the relationship, but you're battling feelings of maybe feeling abandoned. Maybe you're feeling lonely. Maybe you're feeling really sad. Maybe you're mourning what you thought your future was going to look like. Maybe you feel doomed. Maybe you feel a loss of control. These are the things that I'm saying. A lot of the problems that we face in life, yes, are very much problems, but sometimes we connect one problem with the other and we don't even know that we're doing it. And so when we turn to people that are trained that can help us in that area, they can really help heal wounds that we have no idea existed. A lot of our problems are actually really spiritual as well. We tend to feel misaligned because something in our physical reality is not aligning in our spirit. This is a great time for you to really assess your spiritual life. What are you turning to spiritually that's touching the center of your soul, your core, your center? What is making you feel like you have faith, like you have reasons for living? Tap into those things right now too, because when you're feeling misaligned and not connected to yourself because life is getting loud, remembering simple things that can ground you and bring you back to your why will make all of the difference. Turning to prayer, no matter what spiritual, religious practice you do or that you believe in, just putting it out to a higher power of some sort and just subconsciously attracting good and faith and asking for a purpose, asking for the next steps. Like, that shows desire. And I promise you, when you intend that, when you put that intention out, God will receive it and you will get your answer. Lastly, this step is probably going to be the hardest for people who love control and are impatient like myself, but it is a non-negotiable, it is essential. And that is trusting in divine timing. Things take time, and that is a good thing. Change the way that you approach waiting. Because if you think back to a version of yourself 5, 10 years ago, I guarantee you that the version that comes to mind is completely different than who you are today. And that is a good thing. You've grown, you've achieved certain things, you've had successes. You've probably learned so much about who you are. You've probably learned so much about the world. You've had painful experiences that have built you back up. You've been resilient. And just thinking about like the fact that almost 5 years ago there was a global pandemic and you survived it. You're meant to be here. You're meant to keep learning. And as long as you're still here, which you must be if you're watching this video, you still have a reason to live. You still have a bigger purpose. And you need to know that. And just like you weren't who you are today 5 years ago, who knows who you're going to be 5 years from now? You know, of course, you have, I know that each and every one of you watching this video has a version of yourself that you see successful, that you see in love, that you see wealthy, that you see attaining everything that you desire. And that version of you is very possible. So if in 5 years you want to be that version, you also have to believe that the things that you're going through right now, the hardships, the misalignment, are building you up to become that version of yourself. Learn from this. And learning from something doesn't mean critically sitting down and trying to figure out where you went wrong. It just means looking at something with a compassionate mind, with a compassionate eye, and saying, damn, okay, this happened. I accept it. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that I'm terrible. It doesn't mean that I'm not worth anything. It just means that this wasn't where I was meant to be, but I went through it. So, damn, it must mean it was meant to teach me something. And when you start to approach things from that lens, you build up your confidence back within yourself, within a higher power, within this world. And you realize that you were never actually misaligned. It's just you lost faith in where you were because things weren't going the way that you thought they would, or you were disappointed, and that's okay. You're more inclined to look at what has happened objectively and make peace with it and come to a peaceful place within yourself. But things take time. That takes time. And all of the things around you that maybe are stressful, that maybe feel misaligned, don't just float away. But when you realize that you are not the problem, that things simply just take time to change when God, when the universe, when a higher power deems it appropriate, as long as you are putting every single effort that you have in those directions that you want to see flourish, you have to let it go and place it into divine timing. And until then, change the way that you approach dealing with some of the stressful people. Change the way that you approach dealing with that annoying coworker. Change the way that you approach dealing with that annoying sibling or boss. Change the way that you look at your job. Look at all of the things that you get to do simply because you're here, simply because you're alive, simply because you're present. Find things every single day to wake up and to look forward to. Every single day that you do wake up is a chance for you to be happy, to find some sort of peace, to find some sort of love and just enjoyment, if that's a word. Nothing is worth losing yourself. Nothing is worth not enjoying the moments that you have here, because we never know when something is going to be gone. We never know when someone we love is going to be gone. We never know when our last days are approaching. And so nothing is worth not enjoying life and loving the present moment. It doesn't mean that you have to love it and enjoy it when you're going through grief. It doesn't mean that you have to force yourself into positivity, but it just means that you have to know that you are strong enough to survive this. And through time, divine timing, you will. And for now, it's okay to give yourself permission and compassion to be where you are. And really quickly, I'm gonna give you a little bonus step. Don't take anything personal and don't assume. As human beings, it's very normal for us to attach ourselves to other people, people that we love, people like our parents, our friends, our spouses, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, our loved ones. But when we over attach, we begin to attach their perception and validation and opinion of us to who we actually are. You need to know who you are independently from everyone else. And that can be a whole separate video. If you want me to make that video, let me know in the comments. But it's important never to take things personal, because we may assign meaning to something that someone says about us or someone does in a hateful or painful way towards us. We may take a breakup personally. We may take getting fired from our job personally. And we start to assign meaning to those things that happen to us through painful experiences. But those things don't define you. I want you to know that. Your resilience defines you. Your dedication defines you. Your heart, your kindness defines you. Nothing outside of you can actually determine who you are. And when we take things personal that happen to us from other people, from other companies, whatever, we begin to assign our worth and who we are with that other attachment. And that's never the case. Your value, your worth is intrinsic. It's never going to be determined by someone or something else outside of you. It's never going to have to be earned, proven, or borrowed from others. It's within you no matter what. And when we take things personally, we unconsciously are giving someone else or something else, like a person that says something mean about us or a company that doesn't see our value, we're letting them write our own story. And your identity and sense of self can never be shaped by that. It can never be shaped by anything outside of you. And the second part to never taking something personally is to never assume. Because when we take something personally, 9 out of 10 times it's because we're actually assuming. We assume what others meant, we assume what others think of us, or what a situation says about us. But assumptions are only built on our own fears, never a fact. They distort our reality and lead us to question our own worth based on incomplete information that we have. When we assume, when we take things personally, we rob ourselves of our own confidence. We rob ourselves of our own worth. And we never want to do that to ourselves. Why would we want to do that to ourselves? When you're confident, when you know your worth, that's when you feel most aligned. So when you reflect on what you've been through, be honest with yourself, but do so with compassion. Let your self awareness lead you to understanding, not self blame. Do the inner work, seek support if you need it, and trust in divine timing. Most importantly, never take anything personally and resist the urge to assume. I know it's hard, okay? I get it. But clarity and healing begin with truth, not judgment, not negativity, not self blame. And when you're clear and when you're healed, you'll be radiating confidence and feeling aligned with your path again. Okay? Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it helped you. Let me know what else you want to see from this channel. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing week, and I'm wishing you all the best always. Bye.